It's great to have Daniel James join me again. Daniel is best known for his 90s pop duo, Yell, and with their chart topping cover Instant Replay. In recent years, Daniel is back as a singer and a songwriter, which is so good to see. Welcome, Daniel.
Hi, nice to see you again. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. It is really nice to see you. Now, last time we chatted, we talked about your early career. And this time, I want to celebrate all the amazing things that you've been doing lately. And particularly, let's talk about the release of your new single. So, tell me the inspiration behind it.
Um, okay, so everybody has an ex. In fact, everybody probably has several exes. And I happened to be in a supermarket. This is quite a while ago. And I was in a supermarket, just going down the aisle, leaning over, the freezer or whatever. And I spotted in the distance across the supermarket, thankfully several aisles away, my ex, or one of my exes. And I saw her over there. She didn't see me. And now I'd ended the relationship. It didn't end in a bad way or anything, but I kind of was looking and I looked, and just for a moment, even though I'd ended the relationship, I had this little film going across my head, thinking of all the really great times we'd had together. And I thought, wow, did I make a mistake? Should I have ended it? It's like just that. Oh, I'm saying it. It sounds like it went on for ages. It was just like a couple of split seconds, like this little film of all the fun times. And then I kind of thought and came to my senses because you don't end anything without a reason. And of course, you block out sometimes the bad things and you just remember the good things.
Yeah.
I kind of, came to my senses, finished my shopping and left, and she hadn't seen me. And I was out with some mates for a drink, and we got talking, and I told them about seeing my ex across the room and the funny feeling I had, that kind of, you know, well, I mean, there were so many different. It just was a big conversation. Some people, if they saw their ex, they would do a runner. Some people were like, "You owe me money." Some people were like, "You haven't sent any money for the kids. You've not been to." And some people, it was such an array of answers, and it was, a subject I'd never really thought about before. And when I got home, the next day, I just started to think about it, and these words came into my head. The things we had are over now. I've got to let you go. I hope sometime we'll realize that leaving was the best for us both. And it kind of just grew from there. And I kept thinking about all the fun times and stuff, and it just turned into a song. And thankfully, because all my mates had been through similar things, I kind of thought, well, probably people can relate to this.
Oh, absolutely. I think, as you said, everybody can relate. We've all had a breakup at some point in our lives, and whether you were the one who ended it or whether you had your heart broken, it is something, isn't it, that you can consider, do you remember? Can you remember me? Can you remember the times that we had? What might have happened, if you stayed together? And why is it always in a supermarket as well that you bump into an ex or you spot them, hide behind a can of beans or something?
Oh, well, I was like leaning out. I was like, hiding behind it. I think it was beans. It was like, what I mean? I was like, I sort of was doing that because I thought I don't want her to see me. It might upset her, or she might chuck a cream cake at me.
You never know, do you?
Well, I mean, I know this sounds strange, but I'm actually friends, not bosom buddies, but I'm still mates with a couple of my exes. So, very fortunate in that way. Because, you hear some horror stories. And my mates, honestly, if I'd written really what my mates had said, it would have been a bit of an X-rated song. I just thought about the words that were in the song. You probably know from my last interview, I tend to write about experiences that either myself or other people have lived through. And so my songs are pretty true to life. Having said that, sometimes when people hear songs, and I'm the same, it depends where you hear it, when you hear it, and what you're going through in your life at the time. Because I think you can attach your own feelings and thoughts to a song that are totally different to the person that wrote it. So, if people listen to it and they can't relate to it, they might just like the melody. They might just enjoy the tune.
I think that's the beauty of music, isn't it? Is that there's something for everyone and we all read into it our own personal experiences and thoughts and feelings. And it's a great track. It's really catchy. I do really like what you've done with it. Tell me about your ideas for the video too.
Do you know what? When I did a video for "Don't Want to Lose That Girl"
Mm.
last year,
Yeah.
and because it was it was kind of around the times of lockdown, there were still restrictions and stuff. So we were bound, and it kind of puts a few restrictions on because of the subject matter. It's kind of serious, but the music is all layered harmonies and backing vocals and stuff. I kind of wanted a happy video, and
Yeah.
I also wanted to tell a story. So
Mm.
we went down to the south coast. We've had a cracking summer, even
Yeah.
all over the UK. I mean, I'm originally from the northeast, and even the northeast have had a
That's had a
cracking
bit of
summer.
sun.
I went up to visit some relatives recently because I'm always up there. We've got great beaches up there, and you just the warm breeze washes over you. You could be in California. And
Yeah.
people said to me when I played them the song, loads of people said when they heard it, they imagined they were driving along the seafront somewhere really nice.
Mm.
I thought, right, I'm going to go to the beach. So we found this fabulous place on the south coast that was a little bit quiet. Well, I say quiet, I've got a little story to tell on that front. So basically, we sat in this lovely shelter right on the seafront. And I wanted to not talk, but I wanted to do the verses. Like, you're just sort of sitting and you just chat with somebody. And I
Yeah.
wanted to make it intimate, and so the verses are just me chatting to the camera
Yeah.
straight off. And I just wanted that. But the choruses, I'm up on the rocks doing a bit
Yeah,
of
it's a bit
shimmy.
bigger, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wanted that to be uplifting because,
Mm.
and the weirdest thing is, there were people walking by when we were doing it. People were holding their phones up and filming and doing a bit of a shimmy. And I
Great.
thought, this is just the reaction that I
Yeah.
wanted,
Yeah.
which was fantastic. But the weirdest thing is, the first time I went up on the rocks, I tell you what, dancing on the bloody rocks, because the rocks are not even. And
No.
I'm dancing away, and I thought any minute now this is going to end up on like "You've Been Framed," and I'm going to go, ba ba ba. So I get up on the rocks and I'm doing it, and of course you're in your own world. The camera's there,
Yeah.
and you're telling the story. You're singing along. You're happy. You're in your own world. I
Yeah.
happened to look down to my right. Bear in mind, I'd done 2 run-throughs of the song, right? And I looked down to my right. Beneath the rocks, there was a couple. It was their little place.
Oh. Oh dear.
They weren't in the mid, they weren't actually,
Ooh la
what is,
la.
yeah, they were doing a bit of ooh la la. You summed it up, well done. They were right in the middle of their ooh la la. And this, the Crown Prince of Sing Along here, jigging away, do you remember me? And I went, so I found they'd obviously found their little place where
Yes.
maybe in the they go for a bit of afternoon delight. Because by the time we got on the
Indeed.
rock, it was afternoon, and I looked down. And I thought, my God, I've been doing the song, and they've been getting a bit jiggy down there. And I looked anyway. They eventually looked up and saw me. Oh my! The look on their faces, and the adjustment of the clothes. And I just looked at them and I went, I'm so sorry. I walked up the rocks the other side. I hadn't even
Hadn't
been.
noticed.
I hadn't even noticed. So I don't know whether they'd consummated their relationship
Oh.
or I stopped them. I stopped them mid-flow. But anyway, so they just adjusted themselves, and then I thought, you know what? I'm not going to look. So if
No.
they carry on, they carry on, or if they leave, they leave. So I actually did the rest of the song, and you may notice in the song, I rarely go over that side because
I'm
there's a
gonna
couple
take a
of them.
careful look at the direction that you face now when you're standing on that rock there, yeah.
I'm going, da, 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 da. And I'm doing this with my finger. I'm making sure it's this side because they're down there. I mean,
'Cause
I could have went, like that. It was, and the camera, the camera crew were quite a way away. And then they brought the camera closer on a bigger rock. So I thought, I better warn them just in case they pan down.
well,
And
you
then there's a
wouldn't,
bit of,
yeah.
there's a bit
Bit of
of chicken,
l'amour, yeah.
a little bit of bum in the air.
Well, that might be their song now from here on in.
They will remember me, but I don't know whether they'll remember me for a good reason. I just hope they kept the rhythm up with the beat of the song.
I'm sure they did.
Now, I
Now,
think you're the first person I've told that story to, I think. Just
well,
because you asked me about the video, it's just sprung to my mind to tell the story. I should have,
I'm loving
anyway.
that. You should have asked them to, when they're a bit more decent, maybe they could have featured in it a little bit because it's all about love, isn't it?
It
And
is,
you
but
could have
what
had
if what if they
yeah.
weren't meant to be a couple? Maybe it was a secret rendezvous.
You're all about the stories, aren't you, now? That's a
Might be
whole
the
different song.
Listen,
That's your
that might be the
next
next
one.
song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it should be.
I wanna do an up-tempo one next, 'cause quite a few, I'm so lucky. Loads of the Yale fans stayed. I say loyal, it sounds a bit over the top, but they're all still there. Of
That's
course, they're all
lovely.
parents and they've got kids and stuff now,
Yeah.
so I've got kids interested, and I've got a whole new set of fans as well. But all the Yale fans said to me, well, not all of them, a few of them said, "Daniel, when are you gonna write a happy song?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And they said, "Well, set your spirit free." I said, "We're supposed to be uplifting about coming out of lockdown. Don't wanna lose that girl.
Mm.
Do you remember me?" They said, "Come on, you've got to write a happy one." So I've said to because people have said, "Have you got another track? Have you, coming up with an album?" And I have got some more music. But I looked at it and I thought, you know what? Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm a miserable bugger.
I
Maybe I'm.
don't think so. Yeah, it's about you're sort of talking about experiences and thoughts and other people's stories and kind of
Yeah.
looking back and I think that's quite interesting really and I think that kind of sums up your journey as well really because you've had such an interesting career, haven't you?
That's one word to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've done so much
I think we're
really, and you've,
talking.
been at the height of your
Yeah.
fame and with the charts and doing all of that stuff
Well, I
with
mean, in Yale,
Yale.
we went all over the world. It was incredible.
Yeah,
Went to the Grammys in LA. I mean, I was in a. I remember, we were touring that much. You get in a lift in LA or something. We went there several times and got in the lift. And one day you're getting in this. It's the guy from Fine Young Cannibals. He's in the lift. The next day you get in, it's Andrew Ridgeley in the lift, and it's
yeah,
like, who we're going to be getting it. I'd be joking, who we're going to walk in the lift with tomorrow, and it was
yeah,
just an incredible life. And I'm really glad I had it, but I
yeah.
can now, I'm kind of a bit more in control now.
Yeah, and you can look back and you clearly have gratitude for those times. But actually, I can see now that you're this kind of mature songwriter. You take it seriously, you write these songs yourself, and these are getting heard. And I think they're so brilliant and that's so important. And actually, you're featuring in charts as well, aren't you now, in the Heritage chart? And this
Well,
song's climbing up all the time.
I went up 7 places this week. I mean, come on, you
Well
know,
done.
I'm,
Yay.
I'm pinching myself. I think I mean, the other two songs were great, and I love them because they're of the context that they are.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but this one seems to have grabbed more people. It seems to. I can't even say why, but the response is just really great to this one, and that's why the next one, it's not so much I want to top it, but I am genuinely thinking of trying something a bit more up tempo and a bit
Yeah.
more lively.
Yeah.
Although we do have a bit of a dance version. We've had a dance mix done of Do You Remember Me? But it's like a jack swing
All right.
version.
Yeah.
So I keep saying that, if the song gets in the top 5 of the Heritage chart,
Yeah.
I'll release the Jack Swing version and see if see if people like it. So,
Yeah.
but the next song I write, I keep saying to myself, it's got to be up tempo and it's got to be like, faster. But it's
Sure.
also trying to get, when you do a fast song, a dancey song, I still want to put those kind of good lyrics in there as well,
Oh, yes.
and
Oh,
tell a
but you
story.
will. Yeah, of course you will. Well, you'll be writing it, won't you? So you'll ensure that you do that.
I think it's something to do with Secret Rendezvous.
I think that's got to be the next one. I really, that's it now. You've got to tell that story, see what's happening, create it all. I'm looking forward to hearing that. You mentioned earlier on that people have been saying to you about an album. So is that in the pipeline then?
Um, well, I've got material, and I suppose it must be, but probably not
Yeah.
till early next year.
Yeah.
I have got. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I have got material. I think I'm just taking. I mean, I've waited quite a while to bring this out. I was chatting to Mike Reed. I've been down to. They shoot the Heritage Chart in
Yeah.
Brighton,
Yeah.
and I've been down a couple of times and had some because he's great. I mean, that man's knowledge of music,
I know.
is just second to none. And
He's
we've
the
had some really good
godfather, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah. And we've had some really good chats. And he said, he talked about people kind of who keep bringing things out maybe every 3 months and whatever. And he said, sometimes it's best to leave people wanting more.
Mm,
And I said, well, in a kind of way, I think because I've left it so long,
yeah.
maybe that's why there's more interest in this one, because I haven't been whacking the tracks out left, right, and centre. I always kind of think only release it if you think it's your best work, you know.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
but that's just me, you know. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not casting aspersions on anyone else. Everyone has their own agenda and whatever. But I just would. I think now that I'm back and I'm doing it, I just don't want to let anybody down, and I don't want to disappoint.
Oh, you're not gonna disappoint, are you? Not at all. Have you thought of a name then for your album?
No.
I think I've got one.
Oh my God, come on then.
Well, because your band was called Yell, I think you should call your album Whisper.
Not bad. I thought for a moment when you said because you called your band Yell, I thought you were going to say call it After Yell.
No.
No, I
No, I
think
think
Whisper's so
Whisper
much
because
better.
it's kind of like it it's more pensive, it's thoughtful. You've thought about things over the years and then your stories are coming to life. You know, you're a serious songwriter. So I quite like that. But hey, it's up to you what you call your album.
Can I just say, um, somebody put on social media the other day, and listen, I'm not sitting here with a big head saying it, but somebody said, what was it? It was something like, your vocals on this song, and we're talking about Do You Remember Me, are like whispers on the wind, or something like that. So
Ah,
you've tapped into a
mm,
something that maybe other people have thought as well. So
there
you
we
never
are
know.
then.
Whispers might be a whisper might be a nice title.
There you
Yeah.
go. Something to
I just
think
think
about, isn't it?
to have an album out, wouldn't that be fantastic?
But
You
that's
know?
what's going to happen. That'll happen next year. And then we could have a chat again and we talk about the whole album and all the different songs and the happy song that's coming up next. So, how do we connect with you?
Well, I'm on Twitter, Daniel James 1925. I'm just building a website. When I say I'm about as technical as, not that good, you know. So I've got somebody helping to build a website for me. It's called thedanieljames.com. At the moment, it's got the video for Do You Remember Me on there and a link to vote on the Heritage chart, which if people would like to, that's great. You can also, what else? I'm on Facebook. Yeah. Oh, and of course the song you can get it. God, I'm not much of a salesman, am I? You can get it on Spotify, Amazon, Apple. The usual Deezer,
Yeah.
the usual sites. I
Yeah.
forget. I completely forget to flog the song.
Yes, no, we
Bizarre.
have to. Yes. So your new single, Do You Remember? So it's out on all the major streaming platforms. We can catch the video. So that's on your new website, but also on YouTube as well. We can see it, can't we? See you sitting pensively on that rock, but also then dancing above the people and doing your thing.
When people watch the video now, they'll all, after they're watching this, they'll all be thinking, where's that couple,
Yeah.
And the couple, I wonder if the couple will see the video and go, we were down. They'll be saying to their mates in the pub, we were just underneath there on the rock, under the rocks.
Well, if they're watching, you must connect with Daniel, make yourselves
Yeah.
known. He's going to write a song about you. You never know what he's going to put unless you tell him what was really happening. uh, Daniel James, what a pleasure it has been once again.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I
And
love
thank you for
chatting
your
to you.
support with Do You
Yes,
Remember Me? Thank you.
yes, of course, always. And we're going to listen to that song right now.